but you need those goals. So it's a lot of pressure on Jackson, which is why I think they have to get a goal scorer. But that's why I think the Brendan Johnson deal's weird, because he's more of a right-sided winger, which is where Sterling started and looked good. They need to go and spend the money on Bagsman. Sorry?
Do you reckon they can put Sterling through the middle?
I don't know. I mean, he was more... I like it. I used to like him on the left for City. I think he was deadly there. If they play the ball, if they get the ball played across, maybe that's the plan. Maybe the plan is put Brendan Johnson or someone like him on the right, Sterling on the left, Jackson through the middle. Yeah, Nkunku's going to come back. But Chelsea fans, correct me if I'm wrong. This is off the top of my head. I swear I read it could be like December, January before he's back. Or maybe that's somebody else that's out that long.
I think it was November, December the time. He won't be fit till January.
Yeah, it's a long time. But yeah, I don't think Sterling will go through the middle. They need someone who scores goals. The problem you have is, who is that? Like, and I want the viewers to help us with this. Who is that goal scorer that's available now, who you like through the middle as a 9 guarantees you goals?
Do you know what? As an unpopular opinion, do you know what I think would be very good for Chelsea? Ollie Watkins.
Ooh, Ollie Watkins. Talk to me about that.
Good player, plays the number 9, leads the line well, good finisher. I think English. The problem with Ollie Watkins is going to be that price tag. They're not going to get Vlahovic. Osimhen's not going to leave this window, right? Watkins, I think, like, when you look at them, we've got Harry Kane, then you look at the 3 English strikers behind it. You got Wilson, Tony, and Watkins. And I think Watkins doesn't get enough credit as the other two. What did he get last year? 18 goals? 17 goals? With a Chelsea team, with the technical ability of that midfield, the Enzo spraying them around like Banksy, and the wire players putting balls in the box, he will get 20 goals. He will comfortably get 20 goals a season in that Chelsea side. He's available now. He's fit. Scoring goals at Villa, creating goals at Villa. I don't know if he was available hypothetically for 50 million, let's say. Right, I don't know how long he's got left in his contract, but Watkins would be a good buy. Just quickly, I'll come back to Watkins in a second. Everyone's talking about Caicedo and Lavia. Why is no one talking about Sarr Toure? Pavan Matar Sarr is 20 years of age, right? And he's absolutely playing out of his skin. And no one's talking about him. We got Sarr Toure and Udogie for £29 million. Mm-hmm. The both of them. And they are playing out of their skin. Sarr, I'm telling you, will be levels in a couple of... Give it 2 years and he'll be an 80 million, 100 million pound player.
This is the thing. For fans, it's a difficult one when you say, who's that number 9? Because we can only go by what we see on television, really. My question is, what are the scouts at Chelsea doing in terms of finding that player they can believe is going to be prolific straight away? You know, and I think they need... Maybe they think it's Jackson. And listen, maybe Jackson will do it. Maybe he scored on Friday. Maybe he scores again this weekend, and then maybe he just goes on from there, and he's going to be.
Who they got the weekend?
Don't know. I'll have to look.
They got Forest. I mean, again, they'll probably win that, but it's winning.
Again, but that's again. I think when he's playing against teams like Forest, teams like Luton, and I'm talking like bottom 8 teams, that is where, like, generally speaking, and I'll have the same. By the way, Chelsea fans, you know me, I don't do bias. I'll have the same expectations for Rasmus Højlund. Those are the teams that I expect my number 9 to be. I think when you're a number 9 of a top 6 club, when you're playing against the bottom 8 teams, you should be expecting your number 9 to score against those clubs without a shadow. As you go further up the table, it depends on the chances created, because the defenses get better, the midfields get better, the teams get... you become more balanced out. But those bottom 8 teams, I expect the number 9 of City, Liverpool, United, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal.
Oh, I don't know about Richarlison. Let's take Richarlison out of that.
No, I do. I expect the number 9 of all of our clubs in the top 6 to be bagging goals against that bottom 8. It has to. We have to. They have to. It needs to be done. He says, yeah, right. What do you mean, yeah, right, Terry? How can you not expect number 9s at the biggest clubs in England and some of the best clubs in the world to not score against the teams who are all in relegation battles? You should be expecting them to. Like, I'm looking at it this way. I expect my Rasmus Højlund this season to score against Luton, Sheffield United. I expect him to score against Everton. I expect him to score against Bournemouth. I expect him... Look, Burnley ain't started that well. Burnley, we should be scoring against Forest, who we just played. Wolves as well. Like, I look at those teams and go, they're like 100%, especially at home. especially at home, they've got to be scoring against that level of opposition. I don't
Easy.
understand why that's so controversial.
It's not, mate. It should be fairly common knowledge. But the thing about Chelsea is they've got winnable games coming up, right? They've got Wimbledon in the Cup, Forest, Bournemouth, Villa, Fulham, and Burnley. Now, I expect Jackson to get maybe in his next 5 games 3 goals, maybe. But it's when from the 21st of October, right, to the 6th of December, they've got Arsenal, Brentford, Tottenham, City, Newcastle, Brighton, and United in back-to-back games. I don't see Jackson going and getting goals against them. I don't think right now, maybe not this season, but where are they going to get their goals from? Like you said, when the defenses get better. The way West Ham, right? Way West Ham played against them, right? David Moyes has got this season so far to an absolute T. Counter-attack Brighton, it was like a Moyes masterclass. But the way West Ham were getting through Chelsea, I was like, hang on, you know, Casado drops an absolute disaster class. I'm not going to judge him after one game, whatever, but I don't know if Chelsea are going to get top 4, mate. I don't think they've got enough firepower there. Now, if you added Watkins, maybe another forward, I think they've got every chance. But that run from the 21st of October to the 6th of December is when we'll see what Chelsea are made of. When they've got Arsenal, Brentford.
Yeah, I understand that. When is that run?
21st of October to the 6th of December, they've got Arsenal, Brentford, Chelsea, Tottenham, City, Newcastle, Brighton, and Man United in back-to-back games. That's when we'll see what level of striker Jackson is.
Yeah, no, I get where. That is a mad run, you know, and that is a mad run of games, as you can see. No, and I get where you're coming from, and I think that's a real test to see where Chelsea are and where their development is up until that point. I think it makes a lot of sense. Viewers, let us know what you think about what Henry has just said to us there. DJ says even Weghorst. Yes, I do. I did expect Weghorst to score against those teams. From the perspective of, if you're not able to, you are not good enough. There's no chance. If you're not good enough as a striker, now, if you're young and you've got to develop, there's a difference because you can see talent and potential. But if you're an established striker and you are not good enough when playing for one of the biggest teams in England and one of the best teams in England, if you're finishing in the top 2, 3, 4, 5, to consistently score against the bottom teams, especially at home, you are not good enough. At the very least, I expect the number 9s at the big clubs to stat pad against these small teams. Like, at the very least, you've got to be good enough to do that. If you can't score against them, how are you going to do it against the biggest and the best teams? The answer is you are not on a consistent basis. Therefore, you are not a good enough number 9 for these teams. So the expectation is to do it. Did I ever believe Weghorst was good enough to do it? No, I did not, which is why I was angry at the signing. Terry, you've never seen Højlund play. I've watched enough of him, though. I've watched, again, let's not act like we're not living in the 21st century in 2023 where we have access to footage. We have access to scouting reports. We have access to in-game footage. I use Y-Scout, which any stat you can imagine, first touches, runs in behind, goals that are being scored. You can edit it to prolonged periods of play. I've watched hours of footage of this kid, and I believe he's good enough this season to score 15 goals in the league, and I believe he can become a very prolific scorer in his career. But even this season, at home against Wolves, Everton, Luton,
Sheffield, Burnley,
Burnley, Sheffield United, I expect him, if the chances are created, to score goals. First season or not. No one yet in the comments has given me a reason why my expectation is warped. You've said you're wrong, but that's not an argument. Why am I wrong? Let's delve deeper into this. I like the discussion. I can't understand. I don't understand. And no, don't just watch compilations. Y-Scout is not compilations.
It gives you a breakdown of how the player actually plays in a detailed report.
Absolutely. So if someone says to you, my friend, oh, I don't rate a player's first touch, you can literally go onto the website and I can look at every first touch that Rasmus Højlund has had for the past 5 years. Every first touch he's had, every game he's played, even the youth games on there. You can look at every first touch he's had. So you can sit there one by one and look at thousands of first touches and then genuinely assess how good or bad it is, as opposed to looking at a compilation where they only put the good ones in, or a foul compilation where they only put the bad ones in. Sorry, mate?
I think he'll be a really good signing for you lot. Everyone's automatically going to do what they did with Darwin Núñez and be like, oh, but he's not Haaland. He's not Haaland. As soon as there's a good goal scorer in the Premier League now, the metric and the but he's not Haaland. The Darwin Núñez, by the way, both those finishes against Newcastle, that's the Benfica Darwin Núñez. Like, those finishes were disgusting.
Yeah, look, Rasmus, again, one thing about Rasmus Højlund, which has gone under the radar we need, he's 6'3", he's strong, and he is fast. He's top, if he's top speed in terms of top sprint, is not too much slower than Kylian Mbappe's. Again, that's based on a statistic I read. I looked at this earlier, and speed is massively important. Rasmus Højlund, top speed. His top speed, he's been clocked at here. He's waiting for it to load. And I'm going to compare this to Mbappe, who for me is the fastest attacker out there, who is the quickest. I'm just going to put this up here. So, yeah, Kylian Mbappe's top speed is 36 kilometers per hour. Rasmus Højlund's top speed last season was 35.97. So this kid, and his acceleration is fairly similar. So you've got a kid who's strong, big, powerful, decent finisher at the moment, who I think is going to get better, but has got the speed to rip past back lines. He's going to score goals. It's as simple and straightforward as that. And he's what I like about him. He's young, but he's built like a man already. That's something that's like Rooney-esque about him. He doesn't look like a man in a child's body. So yeah, listen, it's holy gas terror. I know. Listen, you can say what you want. I've studied this kid. This kid is a top talent for a youngster, and he's got the
he'll score a lot of goals. The way you play, he'll be leading the line. Bruno playing him in, Rashford, but Rashford's got to play out on the left. None of this every now and then putting him through the middle. If I was a United fan, I just want to. I don't get where this Anthony stuff's coming from. Like, just drop the guy. He's not the guy. If I was a United fan, I'd want Sancho on the right, Rashford on the left, and Højlund through the middle, with Bruno, Casemiro, and Amrabat in midfield.
I'm going to make this claim to everybody now. Rasmus Højlund is a better football player than Haaland. The only reason they're being compared is because they're blonde and Scandinavian, and their names sound fairly similar. Haaland, Man City's Haaland, is a superior finisher of the ball. There is actually no comparison. Haaland, for me, is the best finisher of the ball in the world. But when it comes to the overall football play, holding up of the ball, going left and going right, going on the inside or the outside, whichever way you want to describe it in the modern day game, and his ability to link up play, from what I've seen, Højlund is better than Haaland at that. For, at the age they're both remember with Haaland, he's still very young himself, and there's still a lot of room for improvement in him. This is a highly talented football player. Yes, he cost £64 million, but I believe if he spent one more year in Serie A at Atalanta, this would be £100+ million player next year after another fantastic season that I believe he would have. And look, there's going to be lots of learning curves. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be some bad performances at times. He's young. That's normal. But this is a serious star that United have invested in. He's got brilliant hold-up play, very good technical ability, blistering power and speed, and he's a very good finisher and could become an excellent finisher. And the development in there is there's a lot of development that's needed. But if that's done right, there's a star in the making here. There really, really is.
He's only, 20, 21, something like that, 22?
I don't know why I haven't checked his age. I want to say 21, but he could be a year younger than that. But he might be 21. He's 20. He turns 21 this season.
He'll score a lot of goals, easy. He'll score a lot of goals. I'll be honest, I'll hold my hands up. I don't know too much about him. I've seen him play, some highlights for Atalanta. But the thing is, everyone says, he only scored 8 or 9 goals last year. But look at the amount of minutes he played. Look at the amount of minutes, or the games that he come on off the bench, or games. How many games did he actually start?
This is the thing. What people do, though, they have like this kind of they look for. This was a player, by the way. Rasmus Højlund was a player that I saw multiple fan bases in my comment sections all of last season talking about. Oh, have you seen this kid? I remember the first time I saw his name put in there, I thought people were misspelling Haaland. I wasn't sure who he was early part of last year. So I started watching him, started looking at his stuff, and yeah, he's really good. I saw Liverpool fans talk about him, Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, in this community that we're on right now talking about him. As soon as he's linked to Man United, suddenly he's meaty. The same could be said about Amrabat. Everyone and his dog wanted Amrabat during the World Cup. Oh my God, look how good he is. When the Conference League final happened, most fan bases, mainly because they were getting Arsenal, Amrabat over Declan Rice every day of the week. As soon as he's heavily linked to Man United, suddenly he's a mid player that nobody wants. The fact that Liverpool have inquired about him, Bayern Munich inquired about him, Napoli are now coming in for him. Yeah, he's a shit player. But that's only because he's linked to Man United. It's a madness to me, but there we go. But yeah, look, Chelsea, they definitely need, back to them, they definitely need to bring strikers in.